Today in the show, we have the House of Mouse headlines brought to you by laughingplace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. This episode is being released on June 12th, 2024, and here's what's been going on in the world of Disney recently. Walt Disney World plotting further expansion with a new development agreement, Pixar eyeing more sequels, musical updates from 2 new Magic Kingdom attractions, and more.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
Another emotion has left headquarters to join the fun at Pixar Fest. Beginning June 14th, guests will be able to meet Anger. The fiery character can be found at the Pixar Pier band shell in Disney California Adventure, where joy and sadness already appear. Of course, this edition coincides with Inside Out 2's debut in theaters on that same day. As a reminder, Pixar Fest continues at the Disneyland Resort through August 4th. An Avengers Campus entertainment offering is nearing the exit portal. The Doctor Strange show, which recruits guests to help harness the energy of other dimensions and learn about the power of using the mystic arts, has taken place in the land since its debut, but is now set to close at the end of the month. However, of note, the Disneyland website currently only has showtimes through June 22nd. Despite the show's closure, Doctor Strange himself may still appear in Avengers Campus. The new West Side entrance to the downtown Disney district has opened at the Disneyland Resort. Featuring a mid-century sign, this entrance leads into the expansion area of downtown Disney, which will soon include Din Tai Fung, Parkside Market, Earl of Sandwich, and more. Additionally, a new set of restrooms can also be found in the area, along with a new piece of artwork by Nicholas Smith. These are all part of a larger transformation of the dining and shopping district, which will continue with the planned opening of Din Tai Fung this summer, and more offers coming in the months ahead. The Be Fair to Florida crowd will be happy to know that a popular Pixar Fest item has driven to the East Coast. The Alien Pizza Planet truck popcorn bucket has arrived at Disney's Hollywood Studios and can now be found at a number of popcorn carts throughout the park. Additionally, the Slinky Dog Sipper has also made its way to Walt Disney World. These novelty items join some of the Pixar food and beverage selections such as the Incredibles chocolate cake at ABC Commissary, the Lightning McQueen spare tire at Rosie's All-American Cafe, a Mike Wazowski cupcake at Backlot Express, and more. So be sure to pick up these Pixar treats and collectibles while they last. The second episode of the We Call It Imagineering YouTube series has unveiled 2 new songs that are expected to join the Country Bear Musical Jamboree. First, Try Everything from Zootopia will be performed by recording artist Emily Ann Roberts and will apparently be sung by Trixie to kick off the show. Later, Allison Russell and Christopher Scott Tile will slow things down a bit with a mandolin style of A Whole New World for Wendell and Teddy Barra. Of course, these are just a couple of the Disney songs that the Bears will sing in different genres of country music, such as bluegrass, pop country, Americana, and rockabilly. The Country Bear Musical Jamboree will premiere at Magic Kingdom this summer. A new song from Tiana's Bayou Adventure has arrived on streaming platforms ahead of the ride's official opening at Walt Disney World. Described by Disney Parks blog as a lyrical love letter to the city of New Orleans, Special Spice comes from PJ Morton, the Grammy Award-winning musician behind much of the attraction's music, and is sung by Disney legend Anika Noni Rose, reprising her role as Princess Tiana. You can hear Special Spice for yourself on Spotify, Apple Music, and more, and you can ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure at Walt Disney World starting June 28th, followed by Disneyland later this year. Fans of Disney's original The Lion King animated movie will have a lot to celebrate this summer as the film returns to the big screen for its 30th anniversary. Starting July 12th, the classic film will roar back into theaters. The Lion King was originally released on June 15th, 1994, and went on to gross nearly $1 billion worldwide. In fact, for over 15 years, it reigned as the highest-grossing animated film of all time. Of course, in conjunction with the 30th anniversary, fans can currently find several new merchandise items marking the milestone. In other words, you can dress for the occasion and catch the original masterpiece, The Lion King, in theaters next month. Pixar's latest film has inspired a new line of Happy Meal toys. Figures featuring joy and the rest of the emotions of Inside Out 2 are now available at participating McDonald's locations. Each toy comes on a base that you can attach yourself, along with a collection of stickers you can decorate the base with. In addition to the 5 original emotions, fans can also collect toys featuring envy, ennui, anxiety, and embarrassment, as well as subconscious guards Frank and Dave. As always, these Happy Meal items can be found for a limited time and while supplies last, so don't get too emotional if you miss out. That's Sir Bob Iger to you. Okay, well, maybe not sir, but Bob Iger has received an honorary Knight of the Order of the British Empire, which can be given to a non-British citizen for their work in a chosen field. The Disney CEO was presented with the honor by William, Prince of Wales, at Windsor Castle. As noted by Iger in 2022, the order was originally conferred onto him by Queen Elizabeth II before her passing. Meanwhile, acclaimed composer and soon-to-be Disney legend John Williams was also among those who received an honorary Knight of the Order of the British Empire. And now it's time to bring back Kyle Burbank from laughingplace.com. How you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing pretty well, Jeff. How about you?
I gotta tell you, I've had something on my mind for the last 2 weeks that is your fault because last House of Mouse headlines, you basically called me a hypocrite. You're like, Jeff, you have this issue with all of these corporations and companies merging together and Disney buying Marvel and all this stuff, and you just want these cute little neat packages, yet you're fine with Roger Rabbit? And you know, I've been thinking about that. And I was like, wait a sec, why am I fine with Roger Rabbit when there is representation from all the different studios and exactly what I hate? And I have an answer. And I hate you for making me worry about this for 2 weeks.
Okay.
But the answer is story. It all comes down to story. In the case of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, it is part of the story, that all-encompassing important word from, every Imagineer you talk to, every division of Disney. It all starts with story. So in the case of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, there is a reason for this crossing of different studios and stuff that is part of the story. And that's, Kyle Burbank, why it's okay in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And now I will not lose any more sleep over this. So thank you, sir.
I'm happy that you can still enjoy it. I would hate myself if I caused you to lose love for that film. So I'm glad we've avoided tragedy.
I can never watch it again because of Kyle Burbank. No, I'm
You're going to have to make like a Disney edit to have someone make you a tidy version.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's coming to Disney Plus someday soon, where they're just like, for some reason, we're going to cut this crap out. Anyway, that's a whole, a whole other rant of buy physical media right there. But in any case,
just have like a different Disney character come in and go, "What is happening, Doctor?"
Why? Which character says that typically?
Yeah, what's up, Doc?
Oh, okay. Oh, what is happening, Doctor? What's up, Doc? That's a pretty good Bugs. Let me hear it again.
No, I can't do it twice, I'm sure.
It was pretty good. I like it.
Thank you.
Anywho, let's move into some more current news because Disney has kicked off a company-wide campaign in celebration of Donald Duck's 90th birthday, which was on June 9th. And I want to talk about this because this was that event that I went to that I couldn't share all the details about at the Walt Disney Studios lot. And one big part of this was the short that they showed us in one of the screening rooms in the Frank G. Wells building. But in any case, 70 Donald Duck themed products from over 20 licensees highlighting popular brands like American Tourister, Casetify, and Loungefly are being released. And throughout the summer, fans will be able to shop dozens of additional products from industry-leading brands like Cakeworthy, Citizen, Forever 21, Gap, Pez, Simple Modern, and more. I'm not kidding you. When they displayed all this crap for us, there was so much Donald Duck merch. If you're a Donald fan, you have plenty of options to choose from all different price ranges. Some of this stuff gets crazy expensive, and some of it is just like standard collector item sort of stuff that you'd find in the parks. So, yeah, there's a ton. Did anything stick out to you in particular?
Well, I'm a big fan of the brand Roosevelt's. I will say that they send us a lot of free stuff at Laughing Place. So,
Is that how you pronounce it? It's because like RSVLTS or something?
Yeah, it's without the vowels.
I thought it was results. It's Roosevelt's.
No. So that happens to everyone. The first time you see it, you're thinking like results, but no, it's the Roosevelt's, named after Teddy Roosevelt's. Roosevelt, rather. And yeah, so they send us a lot of stuff. And even though they send us a lot of free stuff, I still buy their stuff. That's how much I enjoy it. So they have a Donald collection that I really liked a lot of it. I haven't looked too much at the other stuff, but I am interested that they made a new short. So they restored 2 shorts and they made 1 new one. So we didn't have a chance to go to the event that you went to. And so we're looking in the regular Disney Plus monthly email that they send us, and we see that there's these 3 shorts, and we're like, I've never heard of this DIY duck, and Google's not producing anything. So that was our first hint that there was going to be some sort of new short, but we hadn't had it confirmed until just a couple days ago.
Yeah, going back to the Roosevelt's thing for a second, it makes sense that you get sent a lot of free stuff because Mike Celestino from laughingplace.com, I think every time I've seen him for the last several months, he has one of those shirts on. So
they're very comfortable. And they make a lot. They have like the regular Kunu Flex, but they make a bunch of different stuff. And I've loved every product more than the next. They get better and better. Now it sounds like a commercial. I swear I'm not doing a commercial. I just really enjoy them.
So as you mentioned, Donald Duck has been featured in over 150 short films, more than any other Disney character, which is really fascinating to think Donald's had more shorts than Mickey Mouse. But the Walt Disney Studios Restoration and Preservation team released 2 newly restored classic Donald shorts, directed by Disney legend Jack Hanna, which will stream, or are streaming, I should say, on Disney Plus. And those are Crazy Over Daisy and Out on a Limb. And as you mentioned, additionally, Donald's adventures continue in an all-new short film from Walt Disney Animation Studios, DIY Duck, the studio's first Donald Duck starring short since 1961. He's had quite a break there. It debuted on Disney Plus as well as Walt Disney Animation Studios YouTube, Disney Channel, and Freeform. And the short finds Donald trying his hand at some home repairs, which begin with the replacement of a light bulb and quickly turns into a series of comic catastrophes. His temper flares and his frustration grows as things spiral out of control and lead to an explosive finale. Incoming Disney legend and renowned animator Mark Henn wrote and directed DIY Duck as his last project before retiring from the company in December 2023. So he was at the presentation when they showed it to us, as was Tony Anselmo, the voice of Donald, although they also used some classic voice stuff from Disney legend Clarence Ducky Nash, which was cool. They went and got some of the, old sounds of Donald and worked it into this, which is always cool. But Mark Henn, so he retired December 2023, but I guess the strike, I believe, put some delays on this project. And so he actually had to come back, and he was telling a story how he had to rework his paperwork so that he wasn't rehired, so it didn't screw up his retirement, but he was brought in as, a contractor or something, so it's kind of interesting. And this was created by the hand-drawn animation team at Walt Disney Animation Studios, which, as we all know, is becoming a rarer and rarer art forms. Have you checked it out?
I haven't checked it out yet, but I intend to because it's a short, and I'm sure I can finish it in a few minutes.
In addition, throughout June at Tokyo Disney Resort, guests can enjoy even more fun during Donald's Quack Duck City at Tokyo Disneyland, a celebration featuring limited-time themed decorations, merchandise, food, and beverage offerings, and the quacky celebration, Donald the Legend Parade. Over at Hong Kong Disneyland Resort, fans of Donald can join the celebration through July 7th with limited-time offerings including Donald's Birthday Duckling Dance, where guests will have the chance to walk and twirl alongside Donald in his specialty outfit as he walks around the theme park and hotels, and themed merchandise and food and beverage items will be available as well. Can you believe it?
I was going to say, I can't quite believe that. I've never heard of Disney doing food and beverage and merchandise for a special event.
Money, 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 money. So obviously they're doing a pretty big thing for Donald's 90th, but if you remember, Mickey actually got a whole TV special, which was pretty epic.
And that was a year. There was quite a lead up. There was a TV special that was terrible, and then there was that art exhibit in New York as well. And
you thought the TV special was terrible?
I think that was the one I thought was terrible.
I was in the audience for that. That was a big thing they did out here in LA.
Maybe it was less terrible live.
I was gonna say I saw it live, so I don't think I ever
felt like
watched
it was
on
barely
TV.
about Mickey. It's been a few years now, but
Yeah, I remember there was didn't Harrison Ford showed up or something, and there was a big promo for Galaxy's Edge.
I
It
just
was a
remember
little
disliking it.
Yeah, it was a very like company commercial sort of thing. But yeah, so these 90th birthday things they're doing huge celebrations for them.
I have a question about Donald's though, because looking at it, I saw some like conflicting information. It seemed like maybe they retroactively made one of his appearances, decided like that was Donald because didn't he like premiere later on? Like maybe he didn't have the name Donald early on. I didn't actually end up going back to look closer, but
He originally premiered in one of the Silly Symphony shorts. Something about a hen. I can't remember the exact name of it. Whether or not they called him Donald in that, I don't know. But I know that that's what they recognize as his first appearance and birthday. So,
okay.
Anywho, shall we move on?
Yeah.
Alrighty. According to the Orange County Register, Disneyland Resort has closed the Club Pixar dance party 2 months earlier than anticipated. The nighttime offering located in Hollywood backlot at Disney California Adventure Park was expected to be similar to previous rave-like dance parties, Electronica and Mad Tea Party. However, many fans were disappointed by the format of Club Pixar, which ended up being a more kids-centric show. Instead of DJs and dubstep, guests were treated with country line dancing lessons themed to Toy Story and dance performances inspired by Inside Out and WALL-E. Disneyland officials confirmed that the offering's cancellation was in response to guest feedback and operational considerations. Aka unions. Dancers and performers were notified on June 2nd that night's show would be their last, which is always so crappy when that happens. And yeah, other Pixar Fest offerings such as photo ops, games, and food and beverage options will still be available in the Hollywood backlot during the event. So, like this, I think I talked about this. I said that the Club Pixar was a bit disappointing, but it's in comparison to, it's a bit unfair, I think, because it being where it is and that having been like home base for Mad Tea Party and Electronica as a nighttime thing, I think that was the immediate comparison. That's what we were expecting. But I don't think Disney ever promoted it that way necessarily.
No. I mean, same thing with Freeze the Night was short-lived. And that was a similar situation where people just expected, this is going to be a Frozen-themed thing like Mad Tea or whatever. And that also, I don't remember how long it was around, but I don't feel it was very long. And this had some really random stuff there. Like, I think there was like live ice sculptures with like a person with the chainsaw and stuff. So even that's slightly more adult than what this sounded like. So I can see why there was confusion. But you're right, they didn't really promote it that way. But I guess calling it a Club Pixar, making it like a nighttime event, kind of sent the wrong message.
Yeah, and I think that, well, here's the thing. Like, so from what the rumors flying, I guess it's a union issue. I guess the performances became a union thing, because if you listen, they say other Pixar Fest offerings such as photo opportunities, games, and food and beverage options will still be available in the Hollywood backlot area during the event. That's everything that's Club Pixar other than the performances. So basically what they're saying is we didn't cancel Club Pixar, but we canceled the performances that are part of it. And I don't know if there was some verbiage in the contracts that like related to the performances to Club Pixar, and in order for them to can the performers, they had to quote unquote get rid of Club Pixar. I don't know, but it sounds like they're still doing Club Pixar Light. It's just not with that name right now and without the performances. So it sucks. I hate it when any live entertainment leaves the parks, even if I'm not like the hugest fan. And by the way, I didn't dislike Club Pixar. It just wasn't great, but I would say that for almost all of Pixar Fest. It's all fine. So I don't know, it's a bummer. God, I don't like this, especially when I hear performers are told the day of, hey, tonight's going to be your last show. That sucks. And that's not just a theme park thing. It happens on Broadway sometimes, where actors show up to the theater and they're just told, hey, tonight's the last one. Have fun. And it's just, it's just a really crap industry in that way sometimes. But yeah, it's going away. Kind of a bummer.
Yeah, this, and we talked in the main news segment about the Doctor Strange show going away. So some entertainment cuts for sure. I don't know if we should expect more, but both of them like are those sort of ones where you're like, okay, I can kind of see why. Like, we could talk about the unionization and them wanting to cut back, but I don't think that means they're going to, cut off their nose to spite their face by canceling popular things. But it's like, okay, well, then we might as well shed some fat there.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting because Disneyland Resort really seems to be cutting way back on live entertainment. Like, it just feels like a lot of live entertainment's being cut and not replaced. Whereas at Walt Disney World, supposedly the answer to Epic Universe is going to be throwing a ton of live entertainment into the parks because they don't have a new ride opening, beyond Tiana and stuff. So I feel like I think I could be totally wrong, but I think they have like less union performance stuff in Florida.
I thought there were more. I thought that whoever just unionized in California, I thought had already been unionized in Florida. I could be mistaken on that.
Oh, interesting.
I don't follow these things, but that part of it was surprising to me.
I know like Nemo is equity and stuff like that, but I think as far as like the small AGVA stuff, I feel like we have more of it here in SoCal than in Florida, but I could be mistaken. So in any case, sorry, live entertainment fans, Disneyland Resort seems to be cutting back and cutting back and cutting back. So that's a real bummer. But anything else you want to add to that?
Nope, didn't get a chance to go check out Club Pixar, and I suppose that I won't. I guess I wouldn't have anyway.
You were not going to anyway because Pixar Fest is running its course. But all right, moving on. Walt Disney World and the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District have reached a new development agreement. As a result of the agreement, Walt Disney World will make significant capital investments in the development of its properties within the district, including up to $17 billion with a B over the next 10 to 20 years. More specifically, Disney is committed to investing $8 billion into the Walt Disney World Resort in the next 10 years. The 15-year agreement could bring huge and exciting changes to the resort in the form of attractions, hotels, and improved facilities. This includes the potential for a 5th major theme park, 2 minor parks, and 14,000 more hotel rooms. Where did that come from? Like, did Disney say that? I don't think so.
It must have come from somewhere. It might have been in the agreement, but...
Oh, maybe, okay, to get the permissions, hey, if we want to build another theme park, we can, sort of
potentially.
Thing. Okay. Yeah, 5th major theme park. I mean, I would love it. I think they should, considering Epic Universe. I don't know. Well, 15 years is a long time. Maybe in like that 15th year, they'll do it. I don't know. I don't see it happening in the next 5 years, but I would love to be wrong.
No, I think you're right. I think it's probably going to be, because one of the things Iger was talking about relatively recently, I forget which interview of his it was, but he mentioned
don't you mean Sir Bob Iger?
Yeah, as I explained, he's not
Sir,
really
not
a
sir.
sir. He's an American, so he doesn't get that title. But Sir Bob Iger was talking about how they're not really going to announce those plans for like 7, 8, and 9 because who knows what their hit IP could be by then. So they want to have the potential to pivot. So I think those sort of down the line of that 60 billion and kind of the same time frame we're talking about here, and even a little bit beyond that, I think it's going to be held back a little bit.
So here's what's really interesting is the live entertainment and theme parks are at like an all-time high right now. Like things are selling like crazy. Like tickets for conventions are selling like crazy. Theme park ticket sales are through the roof. Like things are going really well. So they're all looking at that and they're saying, hey, let's invest a ton, which is great. I'm not complaining. I'm all for it. Invest $18 billion over the next 15 years. I'm all for it. But the reality is, like, there's always the ebbs and the flows. Like right now, movie theater box office is down. And at some point, this is going to switch again, right? The live stuff will become less appealing to people and it'll be back at movie theaters or whatever. My point is, this like high that we seem to be on for live entertainment and theme parks, this can't last forever, as much as I would love it for it to. And so it'll just be interesting when that decline starts to see them be like, maybe not invest so much. So I say invest as much as you can right now while they're really happy, making a lot of money, so that by the time the downhill slope comes, they'll have already spent it. That's what I want to see happen.
That's the best way to do it.
Can they spend $18 billion in like 3 years? You think they could do it? Let's do it.
They're already starting some of those big blue sky projects we've been hearing about for years now with no detail. Finally breaking ground. So
Finally.
that's progress.
Yeah, that's progress. So yeah, lots happening in Florida that must make a lot of folks happy. So that's great. All right, let's move on because Pixar is considering every film in their catalog for sequels. Shouldn't really come as a surprise. Pixar's been, speaking of those ebbs and flows, right? They're, you know.
I mean, I'm excited for The Gooder Dinosaur.
The Gooder Dinosaur, I like that. That's one I would love to see them do a sequel to because, yeah, first of all, it's not nearly as bad as people like to pretend it is. And I've always had the mindset of if you're going to do a remake or a sequel or whatever, typically a remake, this is the way I think it's take something that was bad and make it great. Don't make something great and make it lesser, which tends to be what people do. And I get why they do it. It's just fandom notoriety there, built-in audience already. But in any case, Pixar has had a rough go at it. The pandemic certainly didn't help. They've had just some flops that didn't do as well as they had hoped. And then, I shouldn't say flops. None of them flopped. They just didn't do...
Lightyear flopped.
Lightyear flopped. Okay, fair enough. And then the strike didn't help the situation either. But they say they're going to balance an original movie idea with sequels and spin-offs with the intent of reminding the masses what they once loved about the studio. Whew. That's a harsh sentence there. As part of this plan, every film from the Pixar catalog is reportedly being considered for another installment or spin-off, with Finding Nemo and The Incredibles being reported as particularly strong candidates. I'm all for Nemo. I'm kind of sick of The Incredibles, if I'm going to be completely honest. But people love that one, huh?
I guess so. I mean, talk about superhero fatigue. Let's make another animated superhero movie. That makes sense.
Seriously.
Although I've never seen Finding Dory. Finding Nemo's never been a favorite of mine.
You never saw Finding Dory? It's a sweet little film, and we all know how I feel about Ellen, but I still think it's a sweet little film.
What they need is a new fish voiced by Rosie. And then...
Oh, yeah, if there was a Rosie O'Donnell fish. She did play, well, this isn't really a fish, but she was like an octopus character's voice in the Flintstones sequel. Did you know that?
I did not.
She's like one or two lines, but she's, just one of the objects or in the world of the Flintstones, and she's the voice. So, of course, she
Jeff,
stars
I just had an
as-
idea.
What's up?
We could have...
No, are you going to talk about crossing over properties and just
It's not
making
going
me
to be
agree?
It's not a real crossover.
Okay.
It's just a fish farm. So you have... So it's kind of like Home on the Range, but for fish. And you could have Roseanne. Oh, wait, no, we can't. We'll replace Roseanne with Rosie. That's
insulting. But what about Home on the Range?
Oh, just because it's a fish farm. So it's like you kind of
Oh, I
redeem
see.
Home on the Range. Like you kind of, I don't even know what it's about. You just take that property, but make it about fish and make it a Finding Nemo movie.
I'm ashamed to say I've still never seen Home on the Range. I need to watch it. Once again, I can't imagine it's as bad as people say.
April
it is.
2 has already passed, so you're going to have to wait to bust a moo until next year.
I don't even get the reference, but it still made me roll my eyes.
Jeff, seriously, you need to brush up. Maybe I just know this because I worked at a movie theater and stared at the banner for days on end. When the movie was coming out, their promotional tagline was, on April 2, bust a moo.
Well, now we know I didn't do so well. It was their tagline on their poster that did it for them. Well, in any case, let's Finding Nemo. Listen, I like the world of Finding Nemo. I think it's really fun, and obviously the parks have quite a bit of Finding Nemo in it, so I like that. But I don't know. Do
you have any Pixar movie you would absolutely not want them to make a sequel to at this point?
Yeah, Brave.
Just because you don't like Brave or because you love Brave?
Because I hate Brave.
I just had in case there's new people, they don't know the canon.
Yeah, no more Merida. We're done with Merida. You know what I actually think would make a very good sequel, and granted, it's a film I love, but I also think it would have a good sequel, is Luca. I think has more adventures to tell. I also really love Coco, but I kind of feel like it's perfect. Just leave it alone. I feel like a sequel for Coco would be a stretch and or forced, whereas Luca, I feel like there's more story to tell there. I don't know. How about you? Anything?
I don't think I'd want a sequel to WALL-E. You could have a prequel to WALL-E or a spin-off kind of set in the world, but a direct sequel I wouldn't want.
Okay. Any that you do want to see get a sequel?
I mean, I think they're doing Monsters at Work right now, and I haven't watched that, so maybe I don't say that I want more monsters. But that's a good question. I think you could probably do something with like Ratatouille, like the other like a rat restaurant. Like the reality of that going forward, I think could be kind of fun. Or have I don't know how you sustain these ideas for 2 hours. That was the problem.
Yeah,
but I could see them doing something with that, or just because that movie's so pretty, doing something else with rats in Paris, or maybe they franchise. Maybe they start Ratatouille restaurants after. Maybe he has a culinary school where he teaches other rats to make food.
Send the check to Kyle Burbank, Pixar. Currently, Elio is slated for a 2025 release, so that would be an original, with Toy Story 5 planned for 2026. So this is the perfect setup for the studio's new plan to build an original idea with a sequel or spin-off base. And of course, we can't forget that Pixar recently did a 14% staff cut, which is pretty hefty. So they're making changes there, which they have to do. It's kind of this whole sequels thing is a double-edged sword, right? Like, we always hear from people that, this is a cash grab, I want something original. But then the stuff that makes more money that people go to are these sequels that are proven properties. So it's between a rock and a hard place sort of thing. And I get it, but please keep making new original stuff, is what I would say.
Agreed. And it is kind of funny because remember the big fight between Disney and Pixar back in the day when, before they bought them, they made a whole, I think it was called Circle 7, where they were going to make sequels to Pixar movies.
And Pixar got upset about that?
Well, because they're like, well, we'll make this for you. I think it was so the theory, if I'm remembering this correctly, the theory was that Circle 7 was never supposed to be like a real thing, that they basically made up the name because they looked across the street at ABC 7 and decided, Circle 7, let's call it Circle 7 Studios. We'll make these Pixar sequels. And they're like, we don't need Pixar. We can make our own sequels to your movies. And that was kind of like a bargaining thing as they tried to actually buy them. I might have that story wrong, but I hope it's right my way because I kind of like it.
All right. I like it too, Kyle. We'll say it's fact, even if it's not, because why not add to the fake news in the world?
At least this is harmless.
It's true, it's harmless. Anywho, let's move on because D23 has shared transportation and parking updates for D23, the ultimate Disney fan event. Very exciting to talk about transportation and parking. But to be fair, this is important information and stuff a lot of people want to know. So the Anaheim Convention Center, that's where most of the event takes place. The parking there will be available for $25. And then the ART, I don't know if they call it the ART or the ART, the Anaheim Regional Transportation buses will offer complimentary transfers from Disneyland Resort hotels and 16 Good Neighbor hotels to and from the Anaheim Convention Center. Rideshare and taxi drop-off locations will also be available near the Anaheim Convention Center. And for guests attending the evening shows at the Honda Center, there are multiple transportation options available to get you between the Anaheim Convention Center and the Honda Center. Option 1, personal vehicle. D23 will offer complimentary parking in the Honda Center parking lots on a first-come, first-served basis, subject to limited availability for guests attending the evening shows. Parking lots will open 2 hours prior to each presentation start time and close 2 hours after each presentation ends. Kyle, I know this was the most shocking one for you.
Yeah, just the word complimentary. Even if it's not a good idea, complimentary still jumps out to me. I'm like, whoa.
Complimentary
you
parking?
Mean you had a chance to make $20 a person and declined it? Wow.
Yeah, so there's that. And then there's the D23 shuttle. D23 will offer complimentary shuttles from the Anaheim Convention Center to and from the Honda Center. So that's, once again, first come, first served basis. Then there's the ART buses offering complimentary transfers from Disneyland Resort hotels and 16 Good Neighbor hotels to and from the Anaheim Convention Center and the Arctic Center, which is a short walk to the Honda Center, for guests that show their D23 event badge on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then option 4 is the rideshare and taxi option, with pickup locations available near Anaheim Convention Center and going to the Honda Center. Must be dropped off and picked up at the Arctic Station. So it sounds like the Arctic Station is, they're trying to not clutter the Honda Center entirely. So the Arctic station is nearby, and you can walk from there for those last couple of options. So those are the options for getting around D23, the ultimate Disney fan event, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully, I'm sure they'll figure it out by day 3.
Yeah, just in time to end.
It's usually how it goes, but hey, that's the convention world. By the way, a bag storage option will also be available at both the Anaheim Convention Center and the Honda Center on a first-come, first-served basis, subject to limited availability. Was this a thing in the past at the Anaheim Convention Center, bag storage?
Well, I think it's because you can bring your bags into the convention center, but you can't bring any bags into Honda Center. So if you bring something with you or you buy something at the convention and don't want to go back to your hotel room first, I think it's for that. But it's like up to you whether you want to have it right outside of Honda or have it outside the convention center if you're coming back to that area. That's my interpretation.
Gotcha. So just keep in mind, complimentary bag check at Anaheim Convention Center, whereas at Honda Center, there is a nominal fee. And as a reminder, the Honda Center has a strict no bag policy. And they're talking like
what they consider nominal. That's always a fun one.
Yeah. It's always a fun word, but no bag. Like they even said those the backpacks, the small ones. What are they called?
Yeah, like Loungefly.
Loungefly, those small Loungefly backpacks, too big. Don't even bring them. So like, I'm thinking if it's maybe a fanny pack will get through, but I would just say don't even risk it. Just don't bring a bag, So there's that. And yeah, anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't think I'm going to be going over to if I do go to the expo, I don't think I'm going to the Honda Center part. So I will not experience this madness, and I will be better for it.
Well, I will, and hopefully it goes well. Another thing I want to touch upon before we go is, did you see that Disney released a full ride-through for Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
I did.
This is kind of new for Disney. And it's kind of been a mixed bag of opinions here. Now, here's my thing. It's like, my guess is they probably don't want to do this. I don't think it's, if I were them, I wouldn't want your first impression to be a YouTube video. But at the same time, if they didn't, somebody else would have. So why not do it and have control over it is how I would feel about it. But it is kind of an interesting strategy. I mean, this was, almost a month before the attraction opened. They released the full video, which, by the way, I did not see because I think I'm just going to ignore it until I experience it here at Disneyland. I'm not dying to watch video. I don't know, unless I were to do an episode about it or something. But as of right now, I'm just avoiding it.
I didn't actually watch it, but my job on the day that they released it was to grab our video from this closing day of Splash and create a side-by-side. And I thought there was zero chance that they were going to line up at all because I thought Disney was going to cut some stuff out or do some weird editing.
Change the speed of water. Yeah.
Oh, no. I just thought that they just I think they just have highlights. I thought it was going to be more like a sizzle reel ride through. And no, it was a full thing. It actually synced up pretty decently. So I didn't really watch it. I just made sure that just kind of scrubbed through and made sure that it wasn't wildly off. And the other surprising part, just kind of getting inside baseball here, that video and the one where we were able to download Disney's and upload it was still able to be monetized, even though the song is on streaming. Usually that's what does you in, is you can upload a new fireworks show. If it's got existing Disney music, then it usually gets claimed right away. But if it's just got a new theme or whatever, it doesn't usually get claimed until that hits streaming because then it has the content ID match. But this, last I checked, it might have changed by now, but it was still monetized, and that surprised me as well. But them doing this kind of reminded me of when they launched the Disney Parks blog. There's all these fan blogs that would report, news of varying, some would be rumors and some would be confirmed. And they're like, oh, well, we can do this. You can just listen to us directly. And it kind of changed the game. And so I think it's same thing now. There's still the same, we're still covering things mostly the same way, but I mean, it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off. It doesn't matter if you're first to it anymore because they already did it. So now you can put your own spin on it instead of just taking a video of it. And I'm sure that vloggers who, one of the things as great as a job as I have and that my team has is, when a new thing opens, the first time you go on it, you're watching it through your phone. So maybe we get to take that element away and actually enjoy it and talk about it and be able to enjoy the things and write about that experience more than just trying to get video of it.
It's 100% true. People don't realize it, but like when you're first time, I always, like in a best case scenario, I'm like, let me go enjoy something and experience it. And then I'll go back a second time and shoot video of it for whatever reason. But sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's a press event and you're there simply to record it or take photos or whatever. And like you said, you're living it through the phone, which isn't the most fun. But it to me, this was kind of reminiscent of, and this is a little, it doesn't line up exactly, but my first thought is, like I was saying, my guess is Disney doesn't really want to release the entire ride through video, but feel like they need to, or they won't be the first. And it reminds me of like when they announced a bunch of stuff for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, where it's like they weren't ready to announce it. A lot of that stuff didn't come to fruition, at least not without a paywall. And my guess is they're like, well, we kind of have to, or else this is going to leak. So I do feel like Disney in a lot of cases ends up doing stuff because if they don't, somebody's going to do it in a way that they don't want it done. And that's just kind of where this lives for me. But it's been interesting because people I know who have ridden it seem to feel pretty good about it. But the backlash online has been pretty nasty. So I don't know if it's
that. I think that's just because it's online. I don't think that has any. I don't think it's anything about the video or what it's not conveying about the experience. I think it's just because it's online.
Well, I think, I don't know. People seem to be somewhat disappointed by the attraction, and it could be bad. I don't think I should hope nobody is like making their vacation decisions based on a comment on a video, but who knows? I have no idea.
We'll decide stupider things off of less.
Yeah. Anywho, there was that, but I also want to mention, so recently Jim Henson Idea Man came out on Disney Plus. Did you happen to see this?
I didn't, and I heard you were disappointed.
Yeah, and I seem to be the only one, one of the only ones, because 100% by critics on Rotten Tomatoes and 86% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, which means it's doing, the reviews are pretty well, but I was expecting a lot more from this. Like, this was and I rarely do this, but like the day it came out, I watched. I was looking really forward to this. Love Jim Henson, and I know a lot about him, and I know that can kind of take away from the enjoyment sometimes, but I know this going in. It's like when I read or watch anything Walt Disney, I'm always like, I'm not expecting to learn a ton, but if I get some cool little nuggets of information, awesome. I just really felt that this documentary focused on like very specific moments of his life and like completely ignored a lot of others. And then there was the whole Disney Muppets connection where literally they make there's a comment like, oh, Jim Henson and Michael Eisner had a handshake agreement and then Jim Henson died. Like, there's no mention that agreement never went through because like the family was unhappy. There's no mention that eventually Disney did buy the Muppets. It just felt really incomplete to me. And I don't know, just very, very disappointing. It's not bad. It's just not like a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how when I watched Waking Sleeping Beauty or The Boys, the Sherman Brothers story, like I was enthralled and just excited after that ended. This one ended and I was like, meh, was that it? I don't know. Kind of a bummer.
I didn't watch that one, but I did watch The Beach Boys, and I had similar sort of things. Like, it feels like they're trying to tell too much of the story. And so, I mean, I think for that one, I came away, I still enjoyed the Beach Boys one, but it's like, oh, I'd be curious about this weird time of their career that doesn't get talked about enough. Like, I kind of want to learn about that, because the rest of it, it's like, yeah, it's a nice little story, but it feels like very 101. And I think that's kind of a same sort of issue that we have with like rock star biopics, is it's like, yeah, you got to hit these things and you got to tell this story, but you leave out so much of it by playing it safe. And I'm actually covering Tribeca Film Festival right now, and I just saw a documentary that I thought did a good job of kind of keeping the focus instead of trying to be like a greatest hit sort of thing. It was about Linda Perry. Do you know who Linda Perry is?
I know the name, but I don't know who she is.
So she was in Four Non Blonde. They have that huge song, What's Up? Mm-hmm. And but then she's also worked behind the scenes doing about a lot of production and writing she's got tons of hits. And they talk about a couple of them in the movie, but it's more just about, her life in this current time and kind of flashing back to some other stuff. But But I was really taken back with how much I liked that structure rather than this very like linear documentary style. So yeah, I just thought I'd compare it to that. So it sounds like your issue with it is probably the same issue that I kind of had with the Beach Boys one. It's hard with documentaries. You want to be all encompassing for some of these like ones that have been years and they've been covered by lots of people, but having a different angle is usually way more interesting.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I guess you could say this is a little Disney related, but not really. The Steve Martin documentary that's on Apple TV Plus right now is really good. But to be fair, that's 2 episodes, and each episode is done very differently. Like the first one is all just kind of voiceover and old footage of his stand-up days, and then the second one is a lot of like current day footage of him and Martin Short. So, the 2 very different, but I don't know, it was interesting to watch. I did think to myself, I was like, well, I think the documentary is about an hour and 45 minutes. And I was just like, maybe that's just not enough time to tell Jim Henson's story. But then I was like, you know what? I've seen Walt Disney documentaries that are about the same length and I think do a great job telling his story. So I don't know. I just didn't love the way it was made. Like I said, it looks like I'm in the minority with these reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what other like Muppet and Jim Henson fans feel. So if you'd like, leave a voicemail, folks, and let me know. But speaking of documentaries, though, I do want to mention, not really related to Disney, but I saw the Movie Pass documentary on Max. Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it. I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good. So Movie Pass, I'm sure folks know, but that was like the first kind of movie theater subscription thing. And I'm literally looking right now at my wall. In a frame, I have my Blockbuster video card and my Movie Pass credit card in the same frame because, like, legitimately 2 staples of entertainment history right there. And Movie Pass was a mess, but without it, I'm a huge AMC A-list guy. In fact, you mentioned the whole rock and roll or biopics. I just saw Back to Black yesterday, which is the Amy Winehouse movie, which was really kind of boring for the reasons you stated. And tonight, after we record this, I'm running out to catch a movie. So I wouldn't do that if I didn't have AMC A-List and we have Movie Pass to thank. And it's a really interesting documentary. So highly recommend it on Max. Has nothing to do with Disney, but enjoy nonetheless.
I will say, before Movie Pass, there was actually a theater that opened. It's closed now, but there was a theater that opened right near my apartment in Glendale, like 2 blocks away. And they, when they first opened, said, it was expensive. It was $50 a month, but one ticket was like $20 anyway. So for $50 a month, unlimited movies. So we would look at the schedule and be like, oh, there's a movie starting in 10 minutes, but we live 2 blocks away. We could just walk over and go see a movie. And it was fantastic. And they probably wanted us to drop off because they did everything in their power to try to get us to stop paying, and we didn't.
That's so funny.
Until we moved.
Yeah, so Movie Pass started at about that $40 or $50 price point as well. I remember, if not more, maybe even when it was like very, very young company. And then they went to that extreme $10 price, which they lost a ton of money on. So just watch the documentary. It's fascinating. In any case, that's all I got. Anything else you want to add, Kyle?
I think I'm good this time.
All righty. Well, I'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks. Have a good one, Kyle.
You too.
To read more about any and all of the stories you've heard here today, simply visit the show notes link in this episode's description. You've heard the news, and now I want to hear what you have to say about it. What do you think of Pixar focusing on sequels? Share your thoughts on that or any other topics mentioned in today's episode. Call 818-860-2569, and you may just hear yourself on a future episode of Disney Coast to Coast. Thanks for tuning into this episode. Don't miss any future episodes by subscribing and following Disney with a Z, Coast to Coast on your favorite podcast app, where episodes are available 24/7. Thanks to Ain the City for leaving a 5-star rating and review saying, if you're a Disney fan, look no further. This podcast is the definitive source for all things Disney. I always learn something new and interesting when I tune in. It really adds depth to my experience with the parks and films. Such a great podcast. Well, thank you for that review. Leave a review wherever you listen to the podcast, and you may just hear it on a future episode. Until next time, anything you need can be found in this episode's description. From additional information and links discussed in this episode found in the show notes, contact info to reach me, access to the show's official website, some free gifts from me to you, and so much more. So be sure to check out this episode's description. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!